When you think of motocross in the 2010s, you think of two specific riders dominating the series, Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto. Between these two, no other rider won a Supercross championship between 2010 and 2017. But coming up through the ranks, longtime race fans will remember several riders that were just as fast as these others in the lower divisions. One of these riders was the pride of Oklahoma, Trey Canard. Canard was a wizard on the bike, notching a 250 Regional Supercross Championship, a 250 Outdoor title, and 5 Premier Class wins in Supercross. Yet for some reason, Canard seems to be forgotten when it comes to the comparisons of riders he faced off against. Part of this comes from his injuries, as Canard was not able to stay healthy in the ways that his competitors were. If a few crashes and falls were to go a little bit differently, there's a good chance that you see not only more wins from Canard, but potentially even a 450 championship. How Trey Canard suffered a decade of punishment on his dirt bike is coming up right around the corner. Just like everyone we talk about on this channel, Trey Canard had a standout amateur career. Born in Oklahoma in September of 1990, the young rider turned pro at the age of 17, riding with Geico Honda in 2007. He only made 4 outdoor starts that year before being tapped to run the 250 East Coast Supercross Series starting in February of 2008. The original plan was for Canard to run the West Coast Series. However, Canard suffered what would be the first of many major injuries as a professional. While at the practice track, Canard broke his collarbone in early December of 2007, only about 2 months before the season was set to begin. Coming off the injury, the fact that he was a rookie, and his competition being very stiff, Canard had practically zero expectations placed on him, and this turned out to work in his favor. Starting off the 2008 Supercross Series on the East Coast, Canard won his first 3 starts on his way to a championship in his rookie season. Yes, he won his first 3 starts in Supercross as a professional. He bested Ryan Villopoto by 10 points, partially aided by some aggressive riding in the penultimate round of the season at St. Louis, but nevertheless, he got it done. As the motocross season began, Canard was running well, highlighted by a 2-2 run at Redbud. Sadly for Trey, round 8 at Washougal resulted in a broken femur, causing him to miss the rest of the series. This wouldn't even be the worst crash at Washougal for Canard in his career, but we'll get to that a little bit later. While most would have taken significant time off to recover, Canard came back to competitive racing only 6 months after the incident, lining up on the gate for the 2009 West Coast Supercross Championship. Why he didn't take more time off and switch to the East Coast, where he was the defending champion, is beyond me, but hey, I don't get paid to make these kind of decisions. I just cover them. At A1 2009, Canard crashed on the opening lap with Jason Lawrence, who was defending his title, and finished 12th. Round 2 in Phoenix saw him crash again, resulting in a concussion and 4 missed main events, ending his bid for another championship. But outdoors didn't go much better in 2009. While battling with Christophe Pourcel and Ryan Dungey for the win at High Point, Canard lost control of his motorcycle and landed on his wrist, suffering yet another season-ending injury. Starting to see a pattern here? Canard again somehow recovered in time for West Coast Supercross in 2010 on the 250s and was able to compete in the full season. Why he was not lining up on the East in 2010 again is beyond me. While he did suffer a small foot injury at Phoenix in round 2, his performance was still very good and did not drop even when he jumped on Andrew Short's 450 for opposite coast races after Short had suffered a lower leg injury in San Diego. Trey was determined to make the most of his opportunity, and he did just that. Finally healthy, he shook off a poor run where he crashed in Indianapolis to finish 20th in what was his first 450 race. But after that, Canard rattled off 5 straight podiums before returning to finish the West Coast Series back on the 250s. His run in the Premier Class had made a mark on the competition. By beating factory riders in only his first few starts, Canard proved he really was ready for the 450 class full-time. He would finish 2010 third in the points in the 250 West Coast class after a couple of bad runs late in the year. But Canard broke through and beat Christophe Pourcel in what was a wild final round of the 2010 250 Outdoor Championship to win the title. This was Canard's second 250 championship, one in each discipline. With a great injury-free year behind him, Canard was moved up to the 450 class full-time for 2011, and his first rookie season in 2011 did not disappoint. Unlike rookies of today that typically take a few years to win a race, Canard was a consistent top 5 threat from the first round. He broke through later that season in Houston on February 12, 2011 to claim his maiden 450 victory in Supercross. Canard also went on to win in Jacksonville and Arlington in 2011, with his worst finish only a 13th in Daytona. For a rookie, those numbers were fantastic, and Canard looked like a legitimate championship threat, but the injury bug had other ideas. In early April of 2011, rumors started to swirl that Canard had suffered a crash preparing for the motocross season. Unfortunately, these rumors were confirmed days later. Canard had suffered another broken femur, although this one not as bad as his break in 2008. But still, the injury was a major setback, plus it came at the worst time possible. Doctors estimated a 6-week recovery period, which forced Trey to miss the final 3 Supercross races and the first 6 races of motocross. He was essentially out of both championships. But even with missing the final 3 rounds indoors, Canard still finished 5th in the points. A stellar season to say the least, even if he didn't finish it well. Upon his return, Canard finished 3rd at Spring Creek in his first 450 start coming back from injury. Returning to Washougal the following week, Canard was looking to put his injuries behind him at the spot where his first broken femur had happened years prior, but his dreams could not have been further from reality. After getting a decent start in the second moto, Canard was in contention for an overall podium. Sadly, his attempt at a scrub came up a little bit short at the beginning stage of the race, causing a huge crash, and you guessed it, another broken femur, the 3rd of his professional career. While he certainly does heal fast, Canard was not ready in time for the start of 2012 Supercross, but showed unbelievable grit to even get to the line by the second round. By the time the tour rolled into Phoenix for round 2 of the 2012 season, Canard was actually on the gate and finished a respectable 7th. But round 3 in Los Angeles resulted in yet another serious accident for the fast but injury-prone Canard. The incident came on the opening lap of the main event when Canard clipped a tough block, taking off its cover and forcing him to miss the triple that the field was taking through the first lap. Yamaha's Ryan Morais didn't see Canard and landed on his back, fracturing Trey's T10 through T12 vertebrae in his back. Morais and Canard laid in the California dirt motionless, bringing out an immediate red flag. The race was stopped, but with it laid a devastated Canard. The extremely talented rider simply could not catch a break. His career was going to require another major comeback, but this latest one had only lasted 2 races. Most people at this point would have planned to quit, plain and simple. But for better or worse, Canard refused to throw in the towel. Following yet another rehab, this time for a full year, Canard was healthy enough to run the entire 2013 Supercross season and landed 3 podiums. He even managed to stay healthy in the outdoor season, and in 2013 he brought his Honda home 4th overall in the championship. But for the first time, Canard reportedly told the media that he was genuinely scared to ride his dirt bike. During that season, Canard had reported that he was anxious that another major injury would come soon. In reality, these fears had some serious statistics behind them, as he had already suffered 3 broken femurs, a concussion, upper body issues, been landed on and suffered a broken back, and had a host of other problems. But right as he was getting over his fears, they would soon be realized again in the form of a broken wrist in December of 2013, causing him to miss the beginning of Supercross for 2014. But as the theme of the story, Canard refused to quit. Even when it was probably for his benefit, he came back halfway through the season in 2014 and got his feet back under him. But he really hit his stride of motocross that summer, finishing 3rd overall with 6 podiums and an overall win. His worst finish in an overall that season was 7th. Unsurprisingly, it was at Washougal. If I were him, I'd skip that race. Do not run Washougal if your name is Trey Canard. But coming off a solid campaign in 2014, 2015 saw Canard experience his last bit of success as a professional. He won 2 races and grabbed 7 podiums before landing on Jake Weimer in Detroit, breaking his arm and ending his season. Following the broken arm in 2015, Canard raced until 2017, missing more time periodically, but by this point, the injuries had caught up to the once promised young talent. Following the broken arm in Detroit, he only managed 1 podium for the rest of his career, indoors and out. Going over all these injuries really made me appreciate the raw toughness that Trey showed throughout his entire career. I honestly don't know if there's another example of someone who won races at the top level that dealt with so much injury trouble. Breaking your femur is supposed to be the hardest and most painful bone to break. yet he did it 3 times and kept racing afterwards. But even through all of the trouble, Canard won 5 Supercross races in his career. Full-time factory guys like Ivan Tedesco, Dean Wilson, Ryan Hughes, and even Travis Pastrana can't claim a single Premier Class victory. But Trey has 5. But his retirement after a decade of punishment in pro racing was unsurprising. Sadly, that's the way motocross works at times. The peaks are an adrenaline rush, one that makes you feel invincible and on top of the world. But the lows are deep and painful, and they make you wonder when you'll ever return to the top. In a sport with such little margin for error, the valleys are much easier to find than the peaks. By age 26, Canard was no longer competitive. His body had been beaten up to the point where he was not able to ride at a race-winning level. Because of this, it was the right decision for him to retire, even if it was only at the age of 26. But what do y'all think? Was this the right decision? Let me know down in the comments what your favorite memory is from Trey's career. Also, let me know who you think we should look into next. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and if you made it this far, please do me a favor and throw a like and subscribe to the channel for more dirt bike racing content. Y'all have been killing it lately, and the support means the absolute world to me. Thank you guys again, and we'll see y'all in the next video.